Alright, sorry about that. As soon as I clicked start streaming, it crashed. OBS went bling. So sorry about that, guys. We should be good now. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing fantastic. Alright, welcome Edward Bailey. Welcome. How you doing? Crash out for a welcome. Wait, did you guys hear the boom? Internet is attempting to silence us, Asmo. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna have to go to the YouTube editor after we finish the stream today and just see if I can snip out that first like 3 seconds. But yeah, sorry about that. We're all good now. OBS just doesn't like me some days, and this is one of those days. So welcome to Sil, wonderful human being. You crash sound for a welcome. The internet is attempting to silence us, Asmo. Yes, Urus, and welcome by the way. Ratchild UK, new sub here. What's up? Welcome, Ratchild. How you doing? Yes, at least I did. Awesome. Hello, been enjoying your content lately. Love to hear it, Sebastian. Welcome, Henrik. Welcome, Telcree. Hey, hello, everybody. All right, so before we get into everything today, like the actual main topic, there is one thing I wanted to address about the last Voxwork podcast. Episode 8 to be specific. It got split into 2 parts, and the second part has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about. The second part's still awesome. Part 1, the whole basis for our main topic for Old World having failed. That was my fuck up. I failed my research entirely on that. I have no excuses. I have explanations, but I have no excuses. Everywhere I looked, this is my explanation. Everywhere I looked, like Old World was doing badly. Like there was a bunch of posts on, admittedly it was Reddit. On Reddit, it wasn't doing too good. I also saw, I think it was a Bella Lost Soul article that said it was having some issues. Granted, they're shit, so take it from where it comes. And also my own anecdotal experience with it at my local hobby stores. I talked to my local hobby shop owner and I said, hey, well, how's Old World doing from your point of view? And he said, I haven't sold a single box since it dropped, and I only got one pre-order when it was up or about to go up. So that was anecdotal, to be fair. That's like my local area thing. And apparently my local area had 0 interest. But all that kind of colored it that I thought Old World was completely a failure and was doing horribly. And then all my other research was around like the why of it. And that's what led to us talking about it point to point like it failed. That was my fault, though. That was my fault. So my co-hosts are innocent of that. Their idiocy is their own for other things, but this was my idiocy. So that was my fuck up. I apologize. Episode 8. I'm not going to take down episode 8 because, again, other things we talked about and some of the points we made in regards to Old World, even though they were wrong under the basis of its failure, some of our like sentiments were the same. So I just want to throw that out there. I apologize on behalf of myself because, again, there's no blame on my co-hosts. I'm the one who was responsible for that topic. I screwed up. That's me. So yeah, just gonna leave it at that. Flat apologies. And I'm actually glad to hear it's doing well, despite some of the flaws that we were finding with it. That's good news, actually. You know, wasn't happy to see something failing or not catering to the audience. So continue to hope it goes well. And yeah, just kind of think of that part 1 of episode 8 as Asmo's an idiot, and his 2 co-hosts got dragged into the idiot pool with him. Just think of it like that. We're allowed 1 bad episode, 1 poorly researched episode. I'm glad, so far we've been good. 7 out of 8 I've been good so far. The other 2 we already have pre-recorded are good, so just look forward to those and forgive ye old Asmo for at least 1 fuck up. Anyway, got that out of the way. Today's main topic. Female Custodes. Lots has happened. Just renaming the episode Asmo's an Idiot Part 1. If the other co-hosts want me to change the... I'll ask them if they're okay with that. Assuming they are. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, today, Female Custodes. So there has a lot been happening with that. Not even like filler stuff, because I'm not gonna lie, like as I've been making videos for it, it's felt like I've been like, milking the cow, as it were. And that's how it's felt because of how many things I've had to upload about. But the truth being told, I'm not really milking it. I'm just covering each update as I get them and as I come across them. And they are genuine updates. It's not like hollow stuff. So this is kind of eerie, like how much is just kind of coming up all at once around this. So yeah, even today, for those who've seen the video that I just put up a little while ago. By the way, make sure to put a like on the stream. It helps it in the algorithm and helps some more of the community, hopefully, who are active on YouTube right now, see it in their recommendeds and stuff. So make sure to leave a like. It does help in that regard. And the more people we can get in for potential discussion, the better. Speaking of, I will share the link in the chat, and it is going to be in the description of the stream, the whole stream. But there's the link to the call line Discord. Feel free to jump into General Room 1. I'm assuming by now the other rooms are... Oh, no. Waiting call room 1, 2, and 3 are still open. So if you want to grab those spots, now's the time. Grab them. I go from 1, 2, and 3. And make sure as you put yourself in each room, I do take them in order. So it's like a line. So 1 is the front of the line. 2 is the second most of the line. 3 is the back of the line. And then general waiting room is like everybody who's waiting to get into 1. So all of the people in general waiting room are waiting for 3 to be open. And then they'll jump in. But yeah, I take it in like a line. So jump in that order, and once we're ready for calls, I'll start pulling you guys in, which won't be too long. I'm just going to go over like a recap of everything that's happened. Let me crack my knuckles real quick. Ow. So anyway, in regards to the Custodes situation, in terms of the evolutions of the topic, right now, as far as everything that's happened, brief recap. Let me do this to kind of help me guide me. Okay, so there was the initial reveal or leak thereof of the Custodes Codex from reviewers and stuff, showcasing the female Custodes short story. I covered that initially, and I think this is not a brag, by the way. I just think I haven't checked. There might have been someone who got to it before me, but I think I was one of the first to make a YouTube video on the actual short story itself. So, I covered that like immediately after seeing it, and my initial coverage didn't do too well, but that's beside the point. That's because it was before GW said what they said and really got people to see where I was coming from. But my initial video blew up, had a little bit of back and forth between the community, still majority liked, but back and forth. And a lot of people were tense about the inclusion, but they were waiting to see what GW did with it. And then GW released their now infamous statement about how they've always been there. We've always been at war with East Asia. There is always female Custodes in Ba Sing Se. It is like eerily like gaslighting, and obviously me and the majority of the community pointed out that they were fucking lying, like out their ass, like provably so too. Like this is a community that literally owns in paper the written shit you have. You can't go to a wiki post, change it there, and bam, now it's fact for everybody, and no one can prove you wrong. We literally have the fucking black and white text in paper form that you can't edit that says no. So they lied. They lied pretty bad, and they got smacked around for it, of course. Since then, there have been a slew of other updates as we've been going. I've covered pretty much all of them as they've come. Obviously, the woke hammer crowd, they've been celebrating to see this victory. But in terms of other updates, there was, of course, the fact that this all blew up so much that it entered mainstream news. The Daily Mail covered it, Yahoo News, stuff like that. I have no doubt all of the major online, at the very least, article sites had at least one article written up. YouTube-wise, some of the most mainstream YouTubers are covering it. BreadTubers, as much as I don't like them. There's also the Quartering covered it. And Arch, by the way, I didn't make a video about it, but Arch has also been jumping around everywhere, lending a voice from us, the community, to explain to the normie crowd that are hearing about this but don't know like all the details. Credit to Arch. He's been doing a really awesome job going from like podcast to podcast, news channel to news channel just explaining like what 40K is, what this change means, why there's a backlash, and doing it all very succinctly. So credit to Arch, who's been jumping around doing that. Like he was on Side Scrollers and like a bunch of other channels. I haven't seen all of his interviews, obviously, but they've been in my recommendeds as I've also been covering this topic. In terms of other updates, there was also the potential, it's still rumor, it hasn't been confirmed still, but potential further leaks that were on 4chan. I covered those. As of now, they're still rumor, though. I did get DM'd by an individual who assured me it was true, at least for the most part. Not everything in the leaks on 4chan are correct, even by their metric, but they said most of them were true. The individual claims that their confirmation comes from employees of GW, but they said that they couldn't share with me any screenshots of conversations with those individuals or any, they couldn't give me anything to confirm with. It was just a trust me bro thing, and I don't really run on that. I do, despite my fuck up with episode 8 of the podcast, try my best to be as accurate as possible. If I cover a rumor, it will be expressed that it is a rumor, and that was, yeah, it just was. Trust me, bros. I don't really run with those. I need to see for myself the confirmation, at the very least for myself. I may not show them out of respect, but for me to be like, hey, by the way, the leak's confirmed, I need to be shown. And couldn't be. That's fine. I'm not going to pressure them to show me, but at the same time, I'm not going to then run with it and say, hey, we're good. And the very final update that happened just today, fittingly, just before we got started, was over on the Discord, Nostalgia Vivek was going through and researching their annual financial reports and stuff to the stockholders, and found that they were straight up admitting that they were pushing ESG bullshit into their product to satiate said shareholders. And they've been doing it since 2021 to now. And before 2021, they weren't doing it at all. Like Lord Metalman over on Twitter also looked in the annual reports and looked at like a lot of them. And apparently he couldn't find any mention of DEI or ESG prior to 2021 in January. So this is a very recent, at the very least in terms of their requirement by stockholders and shareholders to include it, it's very recent. It's only a few years now. But we've been noticing changes for like 5 years. So there's still shaky ground there as well. Overall, there's a lot that's happened. Now, of course, that brings us to today's open mic. We're going to be discussing things. It is, again, an open mic. I will pull you guys in one at a time. And again, if you want in, I'll share the links one more time. Boom, boom, boom. Feel free to join that online that Discord. You're going to go into general waiting room if you don't already have a slot in 1, 2, or 3. And then I'm going to pull from 1, and the person in 2 is going to move up to 1. Person in 3 is going to move up to 2. And then someone from general waiting room, preferably whoever's been there the longest, will jump in. But to be fair, there's no way for me to police that. So it might be first come, first serve to jump into waiting call room 3. First to notice the free spot. So keep your eye out. Try not to have your spot taken. But that I have no way of controlling. I'm just going to ask you guys, try and be adults and, take your time. We got a few hours, so we should be fine to fit in plenty of people. Now, last thing I'll do is I'm going to skim through chat and welcome some people, and then we're going to get right into it. Jesus Christ, there's 109 of you watching right now. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Hope you guys enjoy your first sling in with an open mic with me. Well, okay, so welcome Zerkil. Welcome Lotus. Yokai, welcome Edward Bailey. Sil says in the chat, don't know if you saw it, but apparently the Warhammer 40K wiki already edited the Custodes article, and I did see that. I knew they were gonna do it, so I didn't make a video on it. That did feel like small enough news not to report on. I probably should have mentioned it in today's video in hindsight, but yeah, I did notice that. It made me laugh because I was like, matter of time. Welcome Havoc, Sebastian. Yeah, I'm trying to skim, see if there's anything that catches my eye. Love your stuff, Asmogan. Well, thank you, Pineapple Prime, and welcome to the open mic. Welcome Christian Morrison, Ratchild. Oh, I already said welcome Ratchild. Man, there's a lot of you. Holy Inquisition of Imperial Mankind. Imperial Custodes is the foot in the door. All the lukewarm fans, tourists, and subverters will say it's fine and defend it even, but then the snowball rolls down the hill. True. That's gonna become an avalanche if we have anything to say about it. Okay. So nothing else is catching my eye. I'm skimming, to be fair. So don't take that as like I don't think anyone else said anything significant. It's just I want to get to the calls, so I am skimming. Spiffier Mage, welcome to stream. Also, their newest Watt, the newest Watt to tell you to KYS and call you a Nutsi. It sucks that we have to play around these words that we all know what they are, but Nutsi at the same time is follow your leader and stuff like that. Yeah. That's a tactic that woke, not even just woke hammer, but like woke people have always used. They have to make you like as evil as possible in their mind, and they literally convince themselves you are the villain that they think you are. It's comical, and it's almost scary how much they're able to convince themselves you are the worst of the worst. It's also kind of sad because it showcases that they've never encountered like truly bad people. I've met a real like hardcore skinhead in my life. I've met one. Almost fought the man. Fisticuffs. I know what they really look like, and trust me, nothing of anything I've seen from like our community is ever even doesn't even compare. So it's comical how little they've experienced life that they think a bunch of us on the internet trolling around and being goofballs and being faithful fans to the hobby, how weird the Nazis. It's comical. But anyway, Deus Daddy, welcome. Waiting to chat. Got to talk again, bro. Yeah. And check out the Wizards because they already changed the description, men and women. Yeah, like I said, I've already seen it. On its own, it didn't feel like it was big enough to cover in a whole video. Again, hindsight, should have mentioned it in this latest upload, but I was too focused on the actual annual report itself. So I think I'm caught up with chat. Welcome to Zoria. They are watering down the term yeah. And when the real ones come out, other people will ignore because they're tired of listening to the word. Yeah, it's true. That's what happens when you overuse a word. It loses all of its punch, all of its value. And that's what they've done with a lot of words, like homophobe, fascist, Nazi. Like, these words have no weight to them anymore. It's up to YouTube algorithms. Like, that's the only reason people are afraid to say it. Honestly, it's being called that stuff, I just know I'm getting to them. Like, when they've malted down to the point where they're so angry they're just calling you a bunch of words, it just translates to I've won. Like, that's how I always interpret it in every debate. Alright, so that's enough skimming the chat. Don't worry, like, super chats are always appreciated. That helps me highlight them and like see when you guys really want me to see something. You can also at me in the chat if you want to catch my attention. Again, I'm gonna like constantly try and glance back at it, see if you guys want to say something, but I am gonna prioritize the callers who come in. So I'm gonna pull in the first caller. Probably should put on my headphones. And also, thank you guys so much for all the support lately. It's been a lot. It's been a lot of support, a lot of new subscribers, and a lot of people coming in to listen to my dumbass talk. So I greatly appreciate it. I do. All right. As again, you can't reason someone out of a position into which they did not reason themselves. True. All right, pulling in our first caller. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Who's this?
Toasty.
Oh, welcome, Toasty. Yeah, Discord's doing that thing where, because I'm streaming, they're like dotting out everybody's names, so I can't see what your name is.
Can I test something real quick with my headphones?
Yes.
Alright, wait. I'm trying to isolate it. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, even better. Okay.
Alrighty. So, What are your thoughts on the Custodes debacle at this point with all that has occurred since the first open mic I did on this?
It's chasing a trend. Wait,
So when you
why
say
hear a echo?
I do not know, I don't hear an echo. Do you still have the stream on? You might want to mute it.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, I do. I do. Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
So, to your question, I think they are chasing a trend. Why? Because the the founders, the original people who made Games Workshop, who made Warhammer, are far long gone. They are retired, they're living their lives. Now the new people are there and they bring their ideologies, what the old players don't appreciate, obviously.
Obviously. So I guess that would leads me to a question. So this is actually kind of a fun one to ask, and I might ask a few other people this. But do you think that if the original Warhammer creators were still around and still in control, do you think that this ESG, DEI satisfying inclusion stuff would still be going on or no?
Most likely, yes. I mean, it depends on the creators because, oh man, I'm so deep in Warhammer. I knew almost every old create developer or like founder, but some I would say they would just retaliate. Sorry, I'm German. They wouldn't appreciate it. But the thing is, when you got older, especially with boomers, they get more sentimental. They tend to go more left. What is most the case in London and England. Sorry,
No, you're all right.
I need to get in the flow, then I can speak English again.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure. Take your time.
So I think yeah, some would obviously, but some that created this, their baby, they wouldn't appreciate all this retconning with obvious pandering. They wouldn't, because deep down, the Warhammer creators were historians, and dare I say, right-leaning even. But yeah, that's my take on it.
No, that's fair. I would say again, I would say I don't know as much about the original creators so much. I haven't done enough homework in that, so this is just based solely on what I've gathered from like the initial like Rogue Trader release and how they evolved the hobby. I don't know exactly what time they bowed out of the company and bowed out of supporting the hobby from a creative standpoint, but presumably let's say they bowed out around like 3rd edition or 4th edition. There was a pretty consistent vision, though the actual like lore and everything was chaotic when it was first being constructed, and when they finally led into the Horse Heresy novels and Black Library and everything. It was a very different beast at the time. I would say like the end goal though of this grim dark setting with this very morbid scenario of where humanity is at. I'd say there was a definitely more of a right leaning kind of viewpoint with a lot of things. I wouldn't say it was explicitly, but like elements of right leaning ideology was certainly there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
The thing is
uh,
with
yeah, go
thing
ahead. Go
is
ahead.
with the Warhammer creators. They first did Warhammer Fantasy. That was also the most popular one. Even though the sales weren't good, a lot of people were invested with the lore because they took like oh, I get 5, 10 years to build up this Warhammer Fantasy lore, and then they just nuked it just because of sales. That tells you where they stand with their fans. They do not care. They are a toy company. I say toy. They make figures, overpriced cracked plastic. That's their first goal. They do not care for the lore, they only care where the money is at. That's always has been. As a customer from GW, I always seen that, especially with the Primaris Space Marines.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd say like for a majority of the fan base, especially if you've been around for any significant amount of time, significant being like at least 2 years,
Since
3 years.
Warhammer Fantasy, since
Oh, that's even like that's like legacy, been around for a long time. Like if you're like a veteran of the space, you've been around since those Warhammer Fantasy battles, especially since Age of Sigmar ended it. What in 2010,
16, I
16?
guess.
Was it 10?
15, I think 15.
I was gonna say 14, but yeah, that sounds
Oh, yeah,
closer.
shit.
Yeah, but yeah, if you've been around that long, and it feels weird that that's long now because I started the hobby when it was 2013, so I've been in 11 years, and I'd say one of the first things I learned was GW, at least at their current point in time, were very money focused. Like they infamously said at one point, I can't remember exactly when, but they infamously said, "We are not a rules company or a lore company. We are a model company." So
Yeah,
yeah, they
so
infamously
many
said that.
people got mad. So many people, dude.
Oh yeah,
It was in the newspapers and shit. Whatever. It was funny.
yeah. I thought it was funny. And honestly, for a long time, there was a lot of vitriol about that. And for a little while, I would say it was almost respectable, the honesty of that. Like at least at that time, they were like, "Hey, we only really care about the models and so on." Like you could at least appreciate the honesty, the sentiment, and the lack of care for like the community or the lore or anything. That certainly sucked, but you could at least respect that they at least had, for as far as they were concerned, a consistent attitude towards the product.
The thing is, you say that, but the case is they ended Warhammer Fantasy, the old world, because of sales, and they
That's
invested
fair. That's fair.
so much money into the lore, so much passion. This was their hobby, the creators' hobby. They created this, just the lore. For example, the elves and the dwarves. How did the war start if you are invested in Warhammer Fantasy? And the thing is, it didn't escalate because the elves said fuck off. No, it was like it took time. It was realistic. First, they sent their ambassadors, the dwarves. Then the elves were too prideful and that fuck off, and then it escalated. It made sense. That's the thing. It was always you knew they put a lot of passion in it to make sense. What is sad because they just ended it because of poor sales.
True. And yeah, that kind of that's why I said almost. But yeah, when you point stuff like that, I wouldn't say almost. Yeah, that's true.
There it comes, dude. I hate that. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't swear.
Nah, you're fine. I try not to swear myself on these streams, but I uh,
I don't want to sabotage you. I was there when you did the Old Republic stuff, by the way. I
oh,
mean
oh,
it.
you've been around a while
I
then.
mean it. With the drunk bounty hunter shit. It's so stupid.
That was so much fun to do, but I did that when I was in high school. That was like,
Dude, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
ah, man, I almost miss doing those. But yeah, that was a long time ago. It's cool you've been around that
Good
long, man.
time.
Though I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I didn't subscribe, but I was like, you know what? I dig his stick. So I watched some videos and then okay, I wasn't so much invested in you, but then the Warhammer stuff came and immediately I recognized you and then okay, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna see how long this goes.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Like that means a lot to me, actually. Like you're the
Ah,
first
man, we
person
have to
ever
stick
who's
together.
yeah. You're the first person ever who's been like, hey, by the way, I really cool. Like I know almost nobody in my current community who knew like those old videos, so that's cool to hear.
Stand strong, bro.
Oh, someone in the chat asked me earlier. Ask him if you are the channel, the golden one. I'm not familiar. Off the top of my head. Do you have a YouTube
Me,
channel? Yeah, I. It's just
I
over.
had a YouTube channel. I did lore stuff for Honor, but the developers copy striked me because I criticized the writer who was extremely woke. She
Wow.
even she took pride in her tragic backstory, like she was a refugee, her parents got killed, it's been really messed up, and she advertised it. And
So
I
good.
criticized her. She retconned so much, dude. I was so angry. I pointed it out. They copy strike like 100 lore videos. It was insane. And then I just, okay, fuck off. The game dies anyway. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, so it sounds like they deserve to fail with that kind of attitude. I mean, the fucking my bad, sorry. To to copyright strike
Dude,
you.
come on, don't say fuck.
To copyright strike you over that. Oh god, that's so weak. Like,
That crushed me, man. So I took so much time to learn editing, and it even got better and better. And then I three copy strikes. And one day, can you believe that?
I can, sadly, but that's just I'll never
Yeah, and
understand
then
that.
I tried to sort it out due to racism and obvious bullying. Bitch, I didn't. I okay, I'm gone.
This is just don't worry about it. Just keep going. Don't let it ruin your flow.
Nah, man, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I will steer us back on the Custodes topic though, and again, thank you for
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of yeah.
yeah.
But so what are some? I'm gonna ask everybody this. But what are the things you're going to do in relation to the Custodes topic? So, are you going to continue hobbying like normal, continue to buy product like normal from GW, or are you going to boycott like I am and avoid buying any new products from them? Not necessarily leave the hobby, but stop buying from GW and just focus on the old stuff pre these changes. Uh, get your models from 3D printers or have a 3D printer yourself. You know, what's your ongoing mission in regards to the Custodes situation?
Wait, you guys still pay for the crack? I'm I'm 3D printing, dude. I was so I couldn't afford it anymore. And then when it comes to rules, 4chan or Telegram, there's so much pirating there when it comes to GW. What is a good thing in my opinion because they're overstepping with their prices.
They absolutely
But
are.
yeah, I'm still in a hobby because a lot of people, a lot of old friends are going back to old world, and they don't like Age of Sigmar. They played Age of Sigmar just because of they were hardcore old world fans. But to your question, yeah, I'm 3D printing a lot. I'm a graphic designer. I'm even making my own stuff.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I'm still in a hobby. There is no problem, guys. You can have fun with this hobby. There are a lot of creators when it comes to 3D printing that make a lot of a bunch better models than GW. What sounds ludicrous, but it's true.
Hmm. Well, that's really cool, man. Um,
Yeah, man. I'm technically pirating, but
eh.
I do not care anymore.
At this point,
Don't
I'm
get
not
me.
gonna I'm
Don't
not gonna
get me.
shame you for it. I can't.
Don't get me.
I
Don't get me.
I can't blame you. I can't.
Funny
Good.
story. Can I tell you this one story?
Um,
It's really fun.
real quick, there are a bunch of people who want to get into a call,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. So I printed Bretonnians. That's the Warhammer Fantasy Knights. And I painted them really good. And then I played one match. And there was one guy who said, "Wow, that looks awesome," but in a nerd voice. And then, wait a minute, those look weird. He Googled, "These are 3D printed." Dude, why? Come on, man, you're killing the hobby. I said, nope, I'm not. And then the store owner came. Oh my God, she's a girl. Those look awesome. Wait, those are 3D printed? Sweet. And that guy, that one guy, he was he was so pissed, and everyone enjoyed my models because I painted them really well. Like there are a lot of shells everywhere in GW.
Unfortunately, which with a company that constantly act the way the GW does, I don't know how they ever have shills, but they do. It's weird. But
Like the GW won't die. They have licensing, they have paints, they have everything. They won't die anytime soon.
well, there's a chance they might die after all this.
You
But
say
it
that,
it
you
takes it
say
takes a
that, but
admittedly it's I said there's a chance. I don't think it's likely. Um,
especially their paints. Their paints are really good,
yeah,
and people
unfortunately.
swear by them.
Their metallics are must buys most of the time. Even then,
Yeah,
I'm not getting
the
them.
only, the
Yeah,
only.
yeah. Like their metallics are admittedly the best for mini painting at the time at this current time point in time. But honestly, I'm so mad. I don't care. I will make do with arguably substandard paints. Like yeah, I'm not gonna entertain that. But yeah, thank you so
Come
much
on,
for.
one more question. Come on, one more question.
You have one
I'm
more?
quick.
Okay, okay.
Come on, man, come on.
All right. What's your question?
Your question. Come on, one more. I have one more.
Oh, you want another question from me? Okay.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, you can if you want, you can say, or I can ask you one.
Yeah, yeah. You asked me one. Go right ahead.
So, how do you think how long it will take that people will accept the female Custodes and the female Space Marines? Because there's this one I really liked him. His name is Bricky, but I saw this video. He was like, "Yeah, let that one Mechanicus guy make female Space Marines." Yeah, I wrote he's one of them, and I got so much shit for it.
Yeah. How?
Bricky, I think his name, right? Bricky?
Yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I'm familiar. I mentioned him in one of my previous videos. In terms of how long it'll take for people to acquiesce, honestly, I don't think it'll take much time. I think the majority of like my community and like everybody here, or at least a chunk of people who are here, are probably gonna stick their laurels and hold their ground. Plus, again, once people, this will encourage a lot of people to try 3D printing and stuff, right? And once they realize how much cheaper it is and how easy it's starting to become, there's gonna be a lot of people who, even if GW reverse things, aren't gonna ever go back because of pricing. But as for people acquiescing to this, I think for the people who will acquiesce, it's debatable on what percentage of the community that is. I think they'll probably acquiesce within a year. I might be being generous with how long, but within a year.
Yeah, I think we're getting softer with our hobbies and accept too much
I think
shit.
I would,
It's-
yeah, I would say people as a whole have gotten a lot softer, especially with how the internet has allowed people to react to things. Like back in the day, like you only things you reacted to at this scale were usually things that were nearby you, like physically in your real life, like 40 years ago. But with the internet and with like a lot of people being interconnected to things that are really far away from them physically and in their day to day, it's not like ever present to remind them of it. I think a lot of people have just gotten to the point where they scream and yell on the internet and then they move on, unfortunately. So, like
yeah.
protesting or boycotting or like doing those kinds of things, it might last for a few months, might last 6 months if particular people angry, if people are particularly angry. But I think the internet has given people a way to vent and then encouraging them to move on because after you've yelled yourself hoarse, what's left to do? Like if there's a controversy physically close to you, you could go pick it out front of their building. You could send letters that would get to them very quickly. You could actually interact with the people involved with it because they're like your neighbors and stuff. But for stuff as far removed physically as the internet provides, I think it has created a culture of people who get it out of their system and yell about it, and then once they realize there's nothing else they can do, they move on.
I say you protest with your wallet, like
Yes.
always.
That's the way we can protest, and that's the way I encourage people to protest. Jay with a super chat, thank you so much. $5. The Vallejo Metal Colors Airbrush Line Curb Stomp GW medals. I
Nah,
personally
nah,
disagree.
nah.
Yeah, I personally disagree. I have the Vallejo's my main paints. The metallics is what I usually get for GW. I have used both. personally, I just don't agree. Um, yeah, like their medals are good. I'm not saying they're bad, but Lead Bolcher versus Vallejo's gunmetal, it's a no contest, personally.
Oh yeah, what I fucking hate, sorry if what I fucking hate about GW is they release the same color. Like Lead Belcher and Iron Warriors and Rune Lord Steel, something like that. It's the same color.
It
A
is.
little bit brighter.
It's a little bit brighter, a little bit darker, depending on which shade, but it's
I
so
hate
subtle.
it. I hate it so. You're gonna slap non-oil anyway. What's the point?
To be fair, it is up to the individual to buy them separately and make the mistake of thinking they're different colors. So,
I hated it.
yeah. But
Well,
I do got other colors to get to, man. Thank you
yeah,
so
man.
much, though.
Sorry,
No,
sorry.
no, it's all right. It was
It
great
was
talking to you,
fun.
and thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Maybe we see each other again.
Yeah, I'm semi-active on this Discord. It's the Discord's meant for just the call lines, but people have stayed on and just kind of chat to each other from time to time. So I hop in on occasion and check in what everybody's talking about. So
Yeah, man.
yeah,
See ya.
see you later. Bye. All right, that was our first caller. I think it was a pretty good first start. And it was really cool for like that's cool that he referenced like my old stuff. Like I almost forgot I did that. It's actually still on my channel, like my old stuff. And I'm just doing this real quick, and then I'll pull on the next caller. Oh my god, it's still active on my channel. Yeah, 6 years ago. It's been so long. Alright, let me skim the chat, see if there's anything you guys asked me. Usually my name's highlighted to me. I don't see it, so we'll keep going. Okay. Actually, before I pull in my next caller, one thing I would also like to start encouraging people to do, if you have the passion, and you do need money for it, but if you have the passion and the money, start thinking of creating your own, like, war games and alternatives. Because right now we have one-page rules. That's a great alternative. But I do encourage everybody to start considering that, or supporting people who are. And the nose. I myself have been working on a tabletop war game. Do you guys want me to share a couple concept arts with you guys real quick about that, or would you like me to move on to the next caller? Because I don't want to hamper things if people want to get through calls. So, but I just want to throw that out there. Consider making your own tabletop war games if you have the passion and the desire for it. And hell yes, yes, sure, both. How do I do both? Like, how do you move on with the calls, or I show the concept arts? Welcome here for Gender Education Crusade. Oh god. Yes. Okay, I'll take. Apologies to the callers. I'll take a quick couple of minutes. Quick couple of minutes to show off some stuff. And I will try not to drag it for too long, but just so you guys know, like, I am working on one. All right, let's do this. Boom. All right, so concept art. Let me pull up the actual cool concepts. That one. There it is. All right, here's one. I'm gonna try and fit it into the little view there. Boom. Thank you for the $10, man. Super generous of you. Appreciate it. Tip: if GW said there are Custodes and won't release models, then kit bash some barely SFW Red Sonja style models with Custodes heads with majority GW parts, so it's legal, and use it at GW store. That would be funny. If anyone does that, please share that around. That'd be so cool. But yeah, this is one concept art. I'm gonna pull up a couple others, but I'm working on a tabletop war game right now. I'm not gonna point. If you guys want to support, it will actually help me get it done faster. Because right now, the biggest block for me right now for getting it done is finances. So if you guys want to support on my Patreon, it is linked on the YouTube channel. I'm not gonna pressure anybody or like really push it too hard, Because at the moment, with not having enough finances, I have to work extra hours on my job to have like enough excess income to get more concept art and get more stuff done around this. So keep that in mind. It's kind of a death cycle I'm in with that. But yeah, this is some concept art from it, showcasing 2 factions. You guys will be reminded. I wear my inspirations on my shoulders. You will be reminded of some things with the concept art. This also works. There we go. Just trying to grab a random couple of them. And the artist who did these, by the way, is in the chat. It's Pierce of Epirus. He's also known as Jacob Jones. Other places, really talented artist. So he's done great work with me, and I've greatly appreciated it. Here's another one. Yeah, I'm grabbing fairly random ones at the moment here. But yeah, these are some concept arts from, and the Scarlet Games is my studio, effectively. I do technically have a company. Technically, I'm the only one in it, so don't be too impressed by that. But it is copyrighted and trademarked to me, so. But yeah, I've been working on this tabletop war game for a while. I do have a couple of prototype STLs on the Patreon for some miniatures I have designed. They're not the final versions. Hold on, let me see if I can show some of those real quick. Again, I'm trying not to. Here's an example of one of the miniatures, one of the miniature prototypes that I printed off for my 3D printer. I painted it. Here's another variation of them. Yeah, so I've been working about, not obviously the orcs and stuff in the background there. Those are not of my tabletop war game. I just happen to print them alongside these prototypes here. Yeah, here's another one. Yeah, so I've yeah, all of this you see here done, the 3D stuff, that's me. I'm 3D designing and everything. Sandworms, they're tomb makers for one of the factions in the tabletop game. I don't want to. I would tell you guys about the lore of it, but I'd be here for an hour. Because when I start talking about the lore of my tabletop game, I've spent so many hours writing it up that I tend to fall into this cycle of... I tend to fall into this cycle of like ranting about it, and I'm trying not to do that because there are people who are waiting patiently in the call lines. But yeah, I'm working on a tabletop war game. It's in development. Support over on the Patreon if you want to, but just know I'm still in the very early stages. Finances are tight, so I haven't been able to get as much done as I'd like. It's slow moving. So if you're hoping for a project that's going to have more like immediate, like, oh, there's going to be like models tomorrow, or there's going to be game rules in a month, or if you're thinking of that, it's still very early on. So that's why I want to stress only support if you're willing to support a fledgling project. It's still underway. Its biggest barrier to getting more and more done is finances, but at the same time, I don't want people to support financially if they're expecting like immediate returns. I just don't have the time and everything to do that. So yeah, those are just some quick shares with it. Screw it, I'll share one more concept art. The name of the game is Warglaive Gothic, by the way. That is the running name and the name I'm sticking with for the game. It's been in the works for a while. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, right here, this is the concept art for that model you guys just saw for the ugly dude. They're Gretsch ghouls. One of the factions are the Gretsch. Their inspiration was like the John Carpenter's 1982 The Thing. Like these monstrous creatures created from biomass that like mutate onto other things. A little bit more nerfed than the one from John Carpenter's 82, where they don't need like a single blood cell to get to you. It does need a little bit more direct contact. But regardless, I don't want to get into a nerdy rant about the lore. This is not the place. But yeah, the point of me sharing this, the point of me talking about it is, you know, consider doing what I'm doing, what Arch is doing. Arch is working on a tabletop war game as well. I don't know much about it. He's kept it pretty hush hush. But people just know that if you are truly done with 40K and you have the passion and energy and true desire to make a tabletop war game and with your own universe and your own setting and your own characters, do it. Consider doing it. Absolutely. And if you're someone who might have the passion for a new one but doesn't have the finances or the interest to make your own, consider supporting people who are. I'm not saying just me, anyone. There was plenty of other people who are interested in making this stuff. So it's really cool. I highly encourage it, and it could be really fun. It could be really fun to work on. All right, so enough of shilling my own stuff, and back to the callers. Apologies to the callers for taking so long. I'm just scrolling up real quick. I saw someone at me. Oh, it's orders. We shall make a game about Stone Age people riding and taming dinosaurs. You do that. I'd actually be curious to see what you come out with that. I'm just eyeballing stuff from the chat real quick. Someone should make a steampunk based game. Why not you, Adam? Come on. Don't wait for everybody else to do stuff. Jump in and do it yourself. I was waiting for someone to make a cool game like the one I'm working on with like that specific flavor I'm going for, and I decided to stop waiting. I'm working on it myself, and hopefully I'll be done in the next decade. I could be done like in a couple of years if I was able to like quit my day job and focus entirely on it, but I don't have the money for that. I wish I did. Just eyeballing. Nobody else added me. All right, next caller. All right, CEO of the NRE. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. How you doing?
Okay. So you can hear me, yes?
I can definitely hear you. Yes.
Okay. Just checking. Last time I did this, I muted the mic. So, how should we start this?
Well, I'm just gonna ask you the general question of, what are your thoughts on the Custodes debacle with all the latest updates and the latest news? Like, how has that colored your view of the situation?
Well, last time I was here, I said I didn't like it. I still don't like it, but now I'm definitely confident to say that this was going to be inevitable regardless.
That is true, especially with the annual report showcasing that they were already making strides for ESG additions to the universe for their stockholders.
It's amazing how people are both allergic for money and crave money at the same time.
It is fascinating to watch.
We shall see where this goes one day or another.
We absolutely should. So, assuming that's your general response to the broad question, what are your current? I gotta figure out because I'm gonna ask this to everybody, but what are you doing in response to this debacle? Are you disinterested in really doing anything, and you're just gonna go along with it as it is? Are you gonna switch to 3D printing? Are you boycotting GW products? So, what's your general response to the debacle?
Well, I'm going to be working on my backlogs first because I have lots of Tyranids I need to paint. And I do have a printer. I just need to get it up and running and start mass producing a bunch of gaunts.
Create your own factory.
In this case, it'd be more of a gene pool or spawn pool or whatever you want to call it. But other than that, I actually am creating something of my own as well.
Ooh,
I've
nice.
thought about this for about 6 or 7 years now. And only now am I actually putting in the work to make it real. But it won't be a war game at first, it'll just be a series of books, just to get the lore and setting right.
That's a good approach. For me, I'm kind of doing everything all at once, so it's probably smarter to do it your way.
And then before I make it a war game, I'll probably ask my sister or my cousin, because they're both artists, and some pretty good ones too, especially my cousin.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty good place to start is with the concept art. Especially since you're going to be doing novelizations, right? So you're going to need
Yeah.
book cover art, and it is always fun, especially for this particular community, to start putting in like little sketches of how things are going to look, like concept art. Like obviously, I'm assuming you're going for a novel, not like a comic or a graphic novel.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a novel. I like books a whole lot more than graphic novels. Though graphic novels do have their appeal, I understand. Probably just won't be the first thing I do.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
that's
already
fair.
made a I have already made a map and posted it on the Discord. It's just the first draft though.
Yeah, I've been working on a comic for my because again, like I said, I'm doing a lot of stuff all at once. I find it more comforting to be able to jump from project to project within the with my own stuff. So I have my own comic running. I'll just share that real quick in the Discord chat so you can see what it is. But generally, I think it'd be a cool idea for your novel, not knowing all the details, of course, but it'd be a cool idea because the wargaming community tend to like to it's to see like a sketch or a visualization, like a concept art of some of the things that you're putting, and you can do that just by painting the picture with words. But it'd be also cool if like at the beginning of chapters, because some novels I've read have done this, where at the beginning of chapters, or maybe they had like the book is split up into several acts, right? They might include like a little sketch of something that was gone over in that particular juncture of the story, or what's about to be gone over in the coming chapter. So that might be cool, especially if you have a family member who's going to do the artwork for you anyway. You could say like, hey, my book is going to have this many chapters. Could I have like a single piece of concept art just in black and white ink for this? Might be cool to do.
Yeah, and that's definitely something to consider. If you want, I can give a small taste of what this world entails if you are curious.
Uh, can you do it quickly? Yeah, I don't want to like pressure you to like snip through it, but at the same time, we're trying to get through the calls about the Custodes debacle stuff.
Yeah, it'll be very quick. Basically, the world is themed around bugs. I love bugs, and they are horrifying if you know what they can do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever heard of the tongue-eating louse?
I have actually.
Horrifying. But yeah, basically a world themed around bugs, and oh boy, I can't wait to get into the actual lore one day. But for right now, I just have to make the world feel alive first. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and that can be a bit of a struggle, initially, because like when you first start conceptualizing like a universe and lore and stuff, you think of broad terms, but then when you start getting what really gives it life is like characters and like seeing how they interact, seeing how they view the world, like and describing that and putting that all in the novel. Like that it can be a challenge. So I wish you luck with that. I wish I could give you advice on it, but yeah.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
I've already started practicing writing. I have a few fan fictions that I'm working on just to practice.
That's good.
But
Actually, that's a really good place to practice, especially if you're posting the fanfics. That way you can get people's feedback. As colorful as it will probably be for feedback, because people can be a bit spicy when reviewing stuff, especially fanfics and stuff. So you might get a few people who are a bit rude, but
I understand.
yeah, it's all about the learning process.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for the time being. Nothing new, nothing old.
Finn says, "Can we get a summary of the lore?" Finn says, "Put it on YouTube." What? Put one on YouTube. Oh, do you want? What?
Mine are his. You have to clarify.
Yeah, like you want him to share his? Cause do you have any concept art as it stands right now?
I only have the map, but I've been thinking about this setting and world for 6 years, and trust me, it runs deep. I know everything I'm going to do.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to share the map, like I shared my comic pages in general. I guess I'll share those real quick with the says we're talking about it. So the pages aren't done, by the way. Like I'm still working on it, and most of the comics is gonna be black and white with shading, but these are initial sketches. So And also, again, I'm not like there's a reason I'm hiring like Pierce and Jacob Jones to do like the major concept art for the universe. It's because they're much more talented artists than me. This is like pretty bare bones stuff. I've been working on. I'm not the most talented person with artwork, so. But
No, I understand. Neither am I. That's why I'm going to ask my cousin and sister for help.
yeah. Boom. The more info, the better. People need to see it. That's fair. That's fair. Right. But getting back on topic, because we are starting to skew here.
Yeah.
So maybe you answered it and I just didn't clock it because we switched topics a little bit. So what is your move going forward in regards to Games Workshop and like how your approach? Like, are you gonna continue buying the minis like normal? Are you gonna switch to 3D printing? And like, we've already answered the question that you're like you are creating your own verse, but in regards to 40K specifically, are you going to continue engaging with a hobby, or have you completely disconnected?
I'll continue to engage, but I'll stick to the older stuff and print my own stuff from now on. And I do have a backlog of a lot of stuff. Tyranids, Beastmen, and Blades of Corn.
It'd be really cool to see you working on them. And since you're in the Discord now, anyway, like in the future, if you make progress on them, feel free to share them in the call line Discord.
Okay, I can do that one day.
Those were the questions I had prepped to people to ask. Is there any questions you have for me, or questions you'd like to see asked everybody?
Well, all the questions that I would have are probably already answered by now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not the most original person when it comes to socializing.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'll keep everyone posted, whether or not I make more progress or not.
be cool to see, man. Thank you. Have a
Yeah.
great day, okay?
You too.
All right, that was CEO of the NRA. That was cool. Pino Kono, welcome to stream. Hello, I'm a new player. Just joined on the 9th edition. Got a and okay, and have 4,800 space. How much money do you have? Wolf Spear and still building my army. I'm kind of disappointed, but why would someone tell me I'm a bigot suddenly? I'm so caught on the number. You have 4,800 space. Oh wait, do you mean points? You probably mean points. My bad. I thought you were saying like I have 4,800 like models. So I'm like, I don't have 4,800 models, and I've been collecting for 13 years. Not 13. 11 years. Like. Oh god, I think you mean points. I'm sorry, my bad. I misread that. So 4,800 points, Space Wolves, Wolf Spear, and still building your army. Kind of disappointed, but why would someone tell me I'm a bigot? Simple, because they don't want you questioning this. They don't want you standing up for the hobby. They don't want you asking questions. They want you to accept the change. They want you to acquiesce and surrender, because they're trying to conquer. They're trying to invade. If you ask questions, that means their invasion hasn't been 100% successful yet, and that's what they're after. So they don't want you asking questions. So if you dare to ask questions, you will be called a bigot. It's what all authoritarian movements do. All right, pulling in the next caller. Here we go. All right, hello.
Hello.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Want to introduce yourself?
I'm Zardica.
Welcome, Zardica. All right, so I guess we'll jump right into it. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Custodes debacle?
I might be the outlier here. I guess I don't really see what the major problem is, because I'm not going to defend bad writing, right? The Warhammer official channel, like just tweeting out, like there've always been female Custodes. It's bad. It's just bad writing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very much the J.K. Rowling school of world building, where it's like Dumbledore was always gay. I never showed you it, but he totally was. But I feel like Games Workshop pulled a similar move as early as last year, where with the Votan, where they said, you know, the Votan didn't get eaten by the Tyranids. They were actually hiding in the middle of the galaxy the entire time, and it even goes so far as to say that actually there were women in their army the whole time. And I guess I don't understand why the vitriol for this is
first
different.
of all, there's a misconception that there was no backlash about that. There absolutely was.
I'm sure there was.
There was absolutely backlash around the Votan inclusion. In fact, I still to this day refuse to collect Votan because I wanted Space Squats back. But that being said, the reason people were more willing to accept Votan is because it was something being brought back from something that had been unfairly. Basically, it was a retcon of a retcon. Because the Squats used to be in the lore, and then they were erased in a retcon, and that was brutally horrible. A lot of people who were fans of Squats were super disappointed, including myself. Squats were completely annihilated from the game, and it just sucked. So when they announced Votan, and the idea of it being was the return of Squats, people immediately were super optimistic and really wanted it back. And when Votan were dropped, despite the fact that aesthetically and lore-wise they're nothing like the Squats from back in the day, most people were so starved of the nothing having been there before, they're willing to accept the crumbs that were thrown in, even though it's not what we wanted. If it had been a different story, if it had been like this Custodes situation where it's a currently existing and supported faction with ongoing supported lore, people would have been just as vitriolic because there was actually something there that they changed. But this was with the case of the Votan, they added something to something they killed off. There was nothing there. So it was less of a ground to stand on for defending it.
Okay.
So that's why there was a lot less vitriol with that, and that's why there's so much vitriol with this. It's fundamentally it's the same issue, but the difference is it's a faction that hasn't been erased from the lore, hasn't been absent from the lore for years and years, and has a significant following to react to it. So that's why there's noticeable vitriol with this.
Well, I mean the Custodes coming back into like gameplay and lore and getting their own codex and stuff, it's not as new, but it is still like relatively new. And I know people say this all the time, but I guess that's my point. Like the lore changes constantly, like all the way back from.
I'm not sure I understand that point. Hold on. You said it's new for the Custodes to enter the game, but they've had a codex and an army and lore every edition.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the Squats also existed all the way back in like second edition.
Yeah, but they were erased. They stopped having a codex or any kind of supporting rules.
I mean, like we officially got like playable Custodes and stuff like that pretty recently. Outside of the, I mean, I could be remembering wrong, of course, but outside of the like the
not
barely
to sound
chested,
rude, but you are wrong.
Okay, I'm down to be wrong. But I guess my point is that the lore changes a lot, right? All the way back from first edition, Warhammer Rogue Trader, right? I think you were allowed to roll on a sheet that allowed you to have advantageous mutations for your Space Marine, right? Which in the modern Imperium that absolutely would not fly. And then there's stuff like the Grey Knights slathering themselves in Sister's blood to protect themselves from demons. And the new Krons and the old Krons. It's not always good, but it changes a lot. And I guess I don't see the problem with trying to bring more people into the hobby. Because people like to see themselves represented in the media that they enjoy.
Okay. That's quite frankly, that's BS. Like the representation argument doesn't work here. There's been Sisters of Battle for a long time. There's been Sisters of Silence for a long time. There's female Guard, female Eldar on both the Drakari and the Eldari front. I'm sorry, but the representation argument dies on its feet.
Well, no, I know there's multiple. There's the female night pilots. There's female ship captains. I know there's a lot of female representation. But I know, and quite frankly, I'll be upfront with you. I think the Space Marines should remain a fraternity. I don't actually think that there should be female Space Marines. But
Okay.
I know people have been asking for it, and I feel like this is Games Workshop's way of telling those people, here's something that you want, because they want to see women in power armor. There's a backdoor in the Custodes lore in the sense that it's never been I know they've said sons in the past, but again, they change stuff all the time. They've never. It's not like in the Horus Heresy Codex where they explicitly state that the organs that they implement into a Space Marine are male coded, and stuff like that. So this was their out to give those people what they want, and it clearly didn't work.
Those people shouldn't get what they want, because what they want isn't based on any kind of benefit to the hobby. It's based solely on political pandering. Like those they're not fans. Like those people want these changes and alterations solely to piss existing fans off and to also plant the flag of ownership into the hobby. It's not about an actual benefit to the hobby or to the community.
I mean, I'm sure there's snakes in the grass always, but those people could come in and they could become fans, right? And not that they need female Custodes to become fans, but if that's something that they see and that's something that they enjoy and that encourages them, just like with female Stormcast, and it's not female Space Marines who have explicitly always been written to be male, I think it's all right to have, and I know the sisters are also in power armor, but their aesthetics are very different from the Space Marines.
Correct. Again, I don't agree. Like, this altering pre-established lore to cater to this crowd that only care about the gender representation. And again, it's that representation's filled out. Like, the Scissors of Battle are there, Scissors of Silence. And if it's a question of, okay, well, the Scissors of Battle aren't enough, Scissors of Silence aren't enough. Okay, why? Well, there's not enough lore to them, and there's not enough variation in their armor. Okay, why not advocate to have that added? The community wouldn't fight you on that. Like, I think we all think it would be cool if they canonically added, let's say, Valkyries. Like, for a Sisters of Battle order that are from Fenris, that look like Valkyries and stuff for armor-wise. It'd be cool to see a Krieg-style Sister of Battle or Sister of Silence order. Why not do that? The community would support you. Like, that wouldn't alter the lore in a negative way. It would add to the pre-existing lore. It would be friendly to the existing stuff. It would actually be an addition as opposed to a retcon. So this whole change being advocated over those things showcases to me that people advocating for it are not fans. A fan would not advocate for these changes and not advocate for the Sisters of Battle or Sisters of Silence to be enhanced, to be given more than they're getting. The Space Marines and this Custodes have a huge monopoly on lore. They have a huge monopoly on models and support. Every other faction's languishing by comparison. A true fan would know that and would ask, hey, where's more stuff for lore on the Sisters of Battle? Can we get new orders? Can we get new model kits with specific designs for those orders? Hey, the Sisters of Silence are very dependent on the Custodes. Can they get new models? Can they get new variants? Can they get new, sub-factions within themselves? Like, that's something a fan would ask. Because a fan is looking to actually add to the setting, not change what's there for no benefit. I just don't see the perspective that you're arguing for.
I mean, that's fair. I do agree with what you're saying. It would have probably gone over smoother if they had announced some kind of new faction or some kind of new army to have women in more, I guess, traditional power armor, like a Space Marine. There's some Eldar models that are like old enough to drink, I think.
Yeah, and they need to be updated.
Yeah, they do. But I don't know these people, right? I can't speak for them. But I think it's less from. I think it's less from that they want to come in and I think it's more that they want to see themselves represented in the hobby than that they necessarily want to come in. And I know that I definitely know there are some people out there who are insane and are like, yeah, it needs to be a nicer setting. It needs to be a cheerier setting, which is ridiculous, right? That's the it literally invented the phrase grimdark. But uh, hmm.
Take a second to breathe. Don't.
Sorry, sometimes my my brain moves faster than my lips.
It happens to us
Um,
all. Take your time.
But like Games Workshop, Games Workshop is more interested in, I guess, doing like, what if we just head swapped Custodes from, I guess, a financial standpoint or a lore standpoint or whatever. Because I mean, yeah,
And that's not a good move.
I definitely agree with you on that. It's just I'm I guess I'm trying to figure out like what the because if it was female Space Marines, I completely get it, right? There should not, in my personal opinion, there should not be female Space Marines.
Well,
I
part
think
of
the
the
narrative.
yeah, part of the reason there is backlash to that in regards to that is because this is a very clear stepping stone towards that. Like, they're changing in a faction that has legacy wise been always male, always described as male. All the characters are male. Always said things in the codexes like the sons of the noble lords of Terra. They've been gendered as male the entire time, and then suddenly there's a woman there and there's females there. And the reason they did it to Custodes before female Space Marines is because whereas the Space Marines there's an explicit lines that say they're all male, there hasn't been as explicit of a line, even though, in my opinion, there's still been quite explicit stuff in the lore that says sons, and again, no prior mention to women, and also logically, the Emperor was a total sexist. He laughed at Malkador when Malkador suggested he should have had daughters instead of sons. He laughed at him. This is something he doesn't entertain, so why would he make the Space Marines all male, but then with Custodes he'd make some women? It just logically doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, they're supposed to represent the pillars of humanity, and like 50% of humanity is women.
Yeah, but the Emperor thought it was men.
Well, I mean, but I guess my point would be that, like, I know that it explicitly stated stuns in the 10th and 9th edition, but in the like there also used to be, I think, a half Eldar, half human Ultramarines chaplain. Or no, sorry, librarian. So like they say stuff definitively a lot, and then like later they just go, "Oh, that was stupid. We're not doing that." And I'm not saying it's good. It's frankly lazy, but it's just something that Games Workshop does all the time. And I think if it serves to help people want to get into the hobby a little bit more,
I don't think it does. Like, I don't think if this change gets you into the hobby where everything that pre-existed it didn't, I'm sorry, but you're getting in for shallow reasons. Like, really shallow reasons.
I don't necessarily disagree. It's just I think people really, really wanted some kind of Space Marine in. I'm sorry, some kind of woman in large power armor, and Games Workshop saw an opportunity to take it without having to produce an entirely new model line, and then
that was their mistake.
I mean, I guess that is the kind of the contact point.
And honestly, like, here's the thing, and this has been mentioned before. This whole debacle is made worse because they did no legwork to justify it. There was no novel, there was no build-up, there was nothing. It was a small, short story in a codex with no new models, no new anything backing it up. This would have, don't get me wrong, I still would have had a huge issue with it, still would have voiced my concerns, still would have continued to bar against it, but I would have a lot less people on my side if they had simply put in some legwork. So if your point of view is that, okay, they wanted to add in female Custodes, but the only way they thought it would be, beneficial to them is by just adding new heads or slightly new models, then this is the consequence of their laziness. Like, people do not take kindly to something they cherish and love, like the lore of 40K being thrown to the wayside. And yes, you're right, there have been constant changes over the years, not to the fundamental lore. The fundamental lore, the actual pillars of the lore, there haven't been that many changes. The last 20 years has been incredibly consistent, in fact. Small changes here and there that had no real, like the half Eldar hybrid thing you mentioned, that had no bearing on events, that had no bearing on the major implications of coming parts of the universe. It was a nothing burger of itself. So when it was retconned out, it didn't have any consequence. There was no ripple effect. It was minor. And this stuff with the Custodes isn't minor, because there's a lot of other things attached to it. Again, the Emperor was a hardcore sexist. The guy made all Space Marines male. He intentionally made the Primarchs male. He laughed at Malkador when Malkador suggested having daughters instead. This is a man who his idea of the pinnacle of humanity had a dick. So logically, it doesn't make sense for there to be suddenly female Custodes, because if that was his point of view with everything else, he was suddenly okay with his direct companions having women in it. So it's not just self-contained with the they were all male before, now they're all female, but that has no interconnection with other things. It does have interconnection with other things. So again, if they had handled it better, had more lore, had more justification, and they didn't set up so much to hint at the idea that there was no reason for there to be female Space Marines or female Custodes, you might have a point. But where the lore is established the way that it is, with how much that this brings into question with its change, it's not as minor as you think. Certainly not as minor as the Eldar human hybrid thing. Like that hardly anyone knew / cared about. This is very different.
I definitely agree with you in the sense that I don't know if anyone's actually gotten. I know people have for promotional materials, but I don't know if anyone's actually gotten the Custodes books, like, in their hands and gotten to read the whole thing, cover to cover.
The Codex?
Yeah, the Codex.
Several people have, yes. The pre-reviewers. They look.
Well, yeah. Besides the pre-reviewers.
The community has not gotten their hands to it cover to cover yet.
Yeah. But they're definitely. This is a big thing to drop out of nowhere with one tweet. I think the reception would have been way different if it was not suddenly dropped in everyone's lap. There should have been at least a book, because the excuse that they were wearing helmets, you would have never known it was a woman. They weren't wearing breastplates. You would have never known it was a woman. It's very easy, but it's not enough for some people. But I on that, I think we definitely do agree. I guess I'm just more pro representation of minorities. Well, I don't want to say that because that's rude. But I guess I'm more on that side than you are, because you don't want. I understand that you want people who want to come into the hobby as is, and I definitely agree. There are some people who.
I want people to come in who are interested on something more significant and less hollow than someone's race, gender, or sexual preference. I just disagree with the whole representation narrative stuff. Like, the idea that you can't relate to a character unless they have the same skin color as you, the same ideas as you, the same exact gender as you, the same exact preference sexually as you. I just hate that idea because it completely eradicates my own experience with humanity. Like, in the real world, I don't relate to a character based on any of those things. I relate to people based on everything more important than those things, like their lived experiences, their struggles in life, the way they've overcome those struggles, their mentality for the future, their goals for the future. The things that actually make up relatability with another person come on the inside. I feel like if you are making your judgment calls based on your relation to people based on race, that makes you a racist. If you're doing it based on gender, you're a sexist. If you're doing it based on sexual preference, I don't know if there is an Easterism for that, but that's a discrimination as well. that's all. That's what that representation sounds like to me, because it's just the basis of it is ridiculous. The idea that you can't relate to a character unless they coincide with those things, again, it's just ridiculous.
Um, I agree to you to some extent. I think like characters like Goku, for example. I think there are more Latino people and Black people that like love Goku. There's so many, and they Goku doesn't need to match their skin color for them to love Goku. Um, but to that extent, like yeah, to some extent, yeah, it doesn't matter what's on the outside. It kind of more matters if they're well written and well made and they're a compelling character. It's just I guess my question is why can't their skin be black or they be women then?
They can be if from the outset you establish them as that, and it's not for any political points. It's like a genuine writing, like, hey, this character I just happen to make black, or I happen to make sex. That you can absolutely do that. But if you're changing pre-existing characters and their attributes to fit that mold, that's different. You're doing that for political brownie points. You're doing it to satiate an audience that it didn't before, and it's lazy. It's completely lazy. Like
Yeah,
if you're black and you are getting someone, they change a white character to a black character, nothing else. The same backstory, same experience, same name, same everything. But now their skin color is black. You just got white people's leftovers. You got their sloppy seconds. That how disrespectful is that to people? That you can't make your own original character that happens to be black, that has their own unique. Like for example, one of the coolest characters from Marvel, especially back in the day, was Blade. He's a black man who happens to be a vampire. He's a really fucking cool character. Can you imagine if the original character for Blade was just this white guy and they just switched the race on you like years after the establishing comics? That would be so lame. That'd be so lame. And again, disrespectful to black people because it's saying you can't make good characters unless they were white first. That's ridiculous. So
yeah, I mean, I can agree to some of that in the sense that there are definitely people out there who they want to pander and they want to get brownie points, so they either change characters that are already established as a kind of easy get rich quick kind of deal. But there aren't a ton. I guess bringing it back to the Custodes, there aren't a ton of named Custodes characters besides, I think, I can't even remember his name. The Custodes have such long, confusing names. And a lot of the time they're helmeted. So I think as long they are introducing new female characters, they are creating new female characters. I know they're taking old lore that's traditionally been a fraternity and adding women, but they are taking old female characters. They are making new female characters. At least in my opinion.
I don't really think so.
Okay.
But I thank you for coming on, man.
No problem.
It was a good discussion, regardless. I got a couple other people waiting to call, but
yeah, I don't want to take up everyone. I know there are other people here.
Yeah, but yeah, you have a good day now. Okay.
All right.
Alrighty. That was a good conversation. Blade used to be blonde Caucasian. What? Are you trolling me? Not as far as I remember. Blade. Wait. You're trolling me. The first thing that came up was an anime photo. Yeah, no, you're trolling me. Funny though. Blade was ginger. You guys are clowns. I love you though. Oh god. Yo, he might send you death threats now. Who, the guy I just had on? I don't think so. I mean, doesn't really matter to me. I don't know. He seemed like a pretty good guy. I love you too, no homo. Okay. If you're a little homo for me, I understand. Who could resist this? Oh, God. Nope, look up comics. As I said, Snipes made it work. Okay, well, this is news to me. My point still stands, but maybe Blade was not the correct usage. Blade comics. Caucasian. Let's try that. Caucasian. There we go. Okay, first thing I'm seeing is still the black character. Okay, Blade was introduced as a supporting character in Marvel Comics' The Tomb of Dracula. Let's go to that then. Tomb of Dracula number 10. Swear to God, if you're trolling me, I'm gonna be so annoyed. Motherfucker, he's still black! You lying son of a bitch. You fucking pricks. Wasting my goddamn time with this. He's still black. What are you, high? Hold on, let me pull this up. Come on. Grabs it. There we go. Boom. He's still black. Who are you kidding? This is from that issue where he was introduced. He's still. You're gonna look at that and say he's black. Sorry, say he's white. Really? Yeah, I fell for it. You fucking trolling bitch. You stupid. Oh god, you people. Wasting my goddamn time. This is such a good meme though. Like, did you know Blade was Caucasian? He was always Caucasian. Shows this. Oh god, y'all stupid. Yeah, this is from the comic he was introduced. I just looked it up. So you might be thinking of something else if you did mean that. Otherwise, you're trolling my ass. Mr. Hardcore Mode, welcome to stream. I'm black, and even I don't want to be in 40k. Everything is horror. Yeah, that's another thing that's weird with the representation argument with 40k specifically, but we were talking more generically with the last call. Yeah, it's Tomb of Dracula number 10. That was when he was first introduced. He's black as shit. You guys are stupid. Okay. I got work in a couple hours, so I need to get through more of these calls. But that was a good caller. He seemed to be willing to actually listen to me, which was good, and I was willing to listen to him. I just didn't agree on most of it, on like the fundamentals there. Okay, time enjoyed is no time wasted. I suppose so. That was funny though. But you have me going. That was good. Okay. Next caller. Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Brilliant.
Awesome. Can you introduce yourself? Discord has the thing where it's hiding people's names.
Ivan.
Ivan, welcome.
So, about conversation with the latest person, I'm trying to add that there is a good example of representation which describes that you don't need it. It's Shrek, the movie. It's allowed persons who see them in this character, but almost, I think, 100% of people who like Shrek didn't think are not belong to Green Ogre race.
Yeah. That's actually a fair example to use. Yeah, most people related to Shrek the character as a kid, and you didn't, no one who watched him presumably had green skin, was bald. Well, it was probably fair fucking bald people. Had the looped out ear things. Yeah, like that's the thing. That's why the whole representation thing really annoys me. Because I just the
y-
basis of it is like you cannot relate to another human being unless they're the same race, sex, or sexual preference as you.
I believe
It's
it's still a thing for some persons, but it's mostly a personal thing about people who can't see them, who can't be associated with not 100% persons like them. It's and I believe it's a very rare state. It's good to see the statistics, but people who always say about representation for some reason don't ask persons. They just saying that it's truth. You need 100% personality in always every media, always every sphere. But I believe it's not true for most of persons, for most of community.
I would say for the vast majority. I at least I still hope people are not that bad. Uh, most people will relate to a character based on like their values, like who they are, not on what they look like or yeah, like that's again just so strange to me. Like just that mindset. Because as much as like this is an overused term, it's internalized racism. It's internalized sexism. It's internalized misandry or misogyny. Like it is those things. Because if you are actively in your own head, like I can't relate to this character. They don't represent me physically, or sexually. Then I'm sorry, but that's on you. That's entirely on you. That's a you problem. And I cannot relate to the mindset. I cannot relate to it.
I still think it's okay to be such person, but most persons don't have such problems with media and etc. And so strange to see this is an argument for um, introducing some characters in media. And latest person said that he has no such problem, but he have feelings about people who have such problem. But it's I think it's the case. You never see the person who have this problem, but you face the that situation when you must care about their problem.
This might be a little bit of a language barrier. I apologize.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm saying about that. What like latest person speaks before me. Uh, it's a problem about representation. But I rarely see people who say, yes, I have a problem with my representation. Because most times you don't face the person who have problem. You face the person who says that somebody has a problem. And it's very strange.
Yes, it is. So let me sorry, brain fart. So more on to like the main topic. Not that that wasn't related to the main topic, but like in regards to the Femstodes situation right now, what are your general thoughts on it?
Uh, it's very strange because Warhammer became very big part of my hobby of life, and I'm playing actively since 2014. So it's a really a lot of time be implemented in this universe, in this hobby. And even before it, I was a part of community by reading something and etc. And so it looks like these guys, these persons who force these changes, they are just destroyed. It feels for me like this. I believe I what can I do? I stop buying something from Games Workshop totally for some period of time, maybe forever. I don't know how long it will situation be going, because I don't think the Games Workshop knows about the situation too, because most of modern companies are not so sophisticated about planning for decades or whatever. They have some period of time, yeah, maybe 2, maybe 3, and they don't planning further.
Okay.
So I can't say that they will not change back it all, but I wait and I will hope.
Yeah. I'm hopeful that they'll undo this as well. I As for how long this situation is going to go on, I'm not sure. For me, and I think for a lot of other people, it's not gonna, like, the boycott's not gonna stop for a lot of people personally until they do some kind of corrective action. If they stand by their guns and what they've said thus far, and they don't apologize for it, this will go on for a long time, and it might even cement. Not necessarily, again, the end of 40k is a bit extreme, because, first of all, even let's say GW did go down, 40k is not done. Like, the upside with a tabletop game is it's not like a video game. Like, we don't rely on the proprietors of the property to provide us with a server or provide us with venues. We as hobbyists can provide everything that GW can provide us on our own with no help from them at all. We have the codexes, we have the rule books, we have the models, we have the terrain, and all we need is spaces, and a lot of people have that at their houses. So 40k, no matter what, is not screwed. But the future of 40k and whether or not the hobby will continue on without people like myself, it probably will. It won't be anywhere near as popular. But yeah. Right now, in terms of people's vitriol, it's debatable how long it'll last. Like I said, the internet has bred a generation of people that have like an initial outrage, and then they cool off, and then they, because of lack of like in front of them daily exposure to it, so they have time to cool off, and then they kind of acquiesce. So it's a complicated situation, but I think people are upset and stalwart enough about this to hold their ground for a while. I just couldn't say how long.
Sad situation for me is that I'm buying for some time, long period of time, and so do most people in hobby, and the Games Workshop don't see us as consumers. They think that we are something that is in the past. They think that we bought something and we don't matter either. We don't matter for future of community, and so they, I believe, started this thing. They believe that they will find somewhere another people who are good, who are not as bad as us, and who don't have such a amount of miniatures. They want new community, and for new community, they will destroy the old world in many variants. So, like they did to Fantasy Battles some time ago, and so they don't think that it's something that costs. They are only inventing in making more money. They don't think that the universe is good, that it has some culture, etc. They just wanting money, and they all did all for money.
Yeah.
And that is the crude and sad situation, because a lot of people say that community is disrespectful to the women, that we don't like women because we are so. No, we don't like bad plot. We don't like persons who don't invent good plot, who won't only use old plot and don't use their brain totally. They just want to use the universe that was before them. They don't invent
Yeah, because
something new.
yeah, it's Tolkien said it best. Evil cannot create anything new. It can only take what was created by good people and good forces and destroy it. And that's pretty evident over the years as we've seen the woke continually, like a parasitic locust swarm, right? Go from hobby to hobby, homogenize it, gentrify it, eliminate what made it unique or cool or interesting. We saw it with Star Wars and other things. And they rip it up and destroy it. And the thing is, the biggest way for them to do that is if we don't stand our ground. If we don't say no, no further than this, fuck you, get out. Because that's so far tolerance has been for these people has been what has allowed them to proliferate as much as they have in hobby spaces and escapist areas. And we need to stop being tolerating. You need to be sensible. You need to obviously be comprehensive with how you push back against them. You can't act like a wild animal just calling everybody, tourists and then blocking them and being savage to them. That's not going to work because other people are going to see that and think you're the unreasonable one. But you need to stop. I say you. We need to stop being tolerating towards the people doing this. But again, be sensible about it. Don't be a raving lunatic because they're going to try and use that to paint you as the bad guy. Just be firm and solid with them.
The thing is the most sad for me that after all these years, they don't value their community. And they have some people, community managers, they don't totally value their community. Because community managers. Like
by the way,
in
man, I'm running out of time. I have a lot of other people in call. Is it alright if we wrap up this conversation? I'm sorry, it's just this.
One thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just like the Gamergate situation where some community managers say that they hate gamers. You're a community manager of a gamer community, and you clearly say that you hate them. And this is a sad situation. And I think we face some sort of it in Games Workshop, when they don't value their community, don't value their universe, and still they want money.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
It is. I agree.
Sorry. Thanks. Goodbye.
No, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Have a good day, okay?
Good day.
You too. All right, so I'm going to have to put a time limiter on the calls. I wish I could give him more time. I wish I had all afternoon to do these. I do wish, but I do have work tonight, so how much time do I have? Okay. All right, so I'm going to put a time limiter 5 minutes per call. All right, Hey, Nathan. You slipped in the chat. How you doing? Also, the exceptions do not placate the rule. What? Did I miss something in chat? What? Nathan being sneaky? Confused. By the way, Ball, how you doing, you sexy old man, you? If you may still make a forte on my new. I'm not gonna scroll up too far, so I know what I missed. But welcome to Nathan. Ball was here earlier, and I hope he's still here. I hope he's doing good. Sill, yeah, lovely people. Okay, I'm gonna pull in Lord Metal Man. Yo, how you doing?
Hello there, Asmo. How's it going?
It's going. I've had a lot of fun conversations today.
I'd imagine. It's been a day of discovery.
Every day is something like this past week. I don't think we've had a single day where something new hasn't come up.
Oh, fucking tell me about it.
Yeah, like this is turning more into a rabbit hole every day.
Yeah. So I saw your video earlier that you put up of the one of our tweets. That was a good video, mate. But yeah, something else has actually just came up apparently within the last couple of hours about BlackRock.
Oh.
Have you seen the New York Post, that article that's came out?
No, I didn't even know something came up.
Right, well, I'll just DM it to you then now, but essentially, apparently, they've been caught funneling money to blacklisted companies in China.
That does not surprise me.
So, shitloads of money. It's one of those ones, man.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say on it. I haven't had time to properly look at it, but there we go. And Mr. Robert, yes, I am Scottish.
If you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I look Scottish, he sounds Scottish. We're a great duo.
Well, I don't know about sounding Scottish, but you not factor.
No, that's why I said you sound it, I look it.
Oh, is that because of the ginger? Right, the ginger hair, I'm saying. I just need to call you Hamish from now on.
Hamish.
So, yeah, man, I mean, you've obviously had a load of conversations about this. You've got loads of people saying, yeah, this is right, no, that's wrong, blah, 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 all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But every day, man, on Twitter, it's a fucking battle into with this crap.
It's Twitter. Like, that's where all the Tumblr crowd went years ago. And they've holed up there. They've stayed there. Even to the Elon Musk buying it, as much as many of them said they'd leave, they didn't.
Yeah, fucking. Ain't that just the case? They're all attention-seeking cunts, the lot of them.
Oh, totally.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, man, look, I don't have an awful lot more to really add other than what we've already seen. You've already put in your video and all that, what has been discovered. But I do find it very interesting, round about 2021. That was when this shit really started to come into their policies for GW with the whole diversity and inclusion bollocks. And the thing is, I was actually quite surprised to see that you actually saw direct references to ESG, because the only thing I saw was diversity and inclusion.
No, I got lucky. Again, I can't take credit for sleuthing the
Neither can I.
Yeah.
I got sent it as well.
Yeah, I got now I will take credit for I found the second one because the person who let me know that there was ESG references in their annual reports, that was Nostalgia Vivek, a really cool guy in the call line Discord. I like him. But I found the second one because after he pointed out to me that we could even see the annual reports, because I didn't think a company like Games Workshop would share theirs publicly. I mean. Like, I figured there might be, like, a shareholder location that if you had, like, a recognizable, like, attachment to them, you could see it. But I don't know. I guess I
don't know the legals of it, because obviously I'm not a legal lawyer or anything like that.
Neither am I.
But I believe, because it's investor money and all that, I believe that has to be part of public information.
I know in the U.S. it does. Like, that's the other thing, is I wasn't sure if, like... in the UK, if you guys had different rules with like shareholder financial information. I know, like, I figured over there taxes have to be public info if you're a company, but I didn't think like annual reports, like where you actually like write mission statements, objectives. I wasn't sure if like in the UK, you guys got to be a bit more private about it. I don't know how much of a differences there are there.
Well, it's UK, and then you also add in the Europe laws and fucking. God, it goes a wee bit different depending on where you are in the world. But I believe a lot of it still follows underneath common law. So I'm not really too sure on that. And I don't want to take up all your time with a history lesson on common law. So
No, I appreciate you coming in all the same, man. I do.
All right. Look, man, the only thing I've got is, I don't know, a few funnies and just fucking. I'm actually quite glad that we actually found out that we're not just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. You know what I mean?
I not to sound like an egotist or a narcissist, but I knew I wasn't.
Same. I knew it was there somewhere. I just didn't know where to look, and then someone put up, "Oh, here's the report." So I never knew they had them there.
Yeah, I the vindication feels nice, but
Alright.
I knew, like I knew.
Look, guys, for everyone in the chat right now, right? Every idiot who comes to you and tries to gaslight you, just tell them to shove it, right?
Yeah,
Tell them to shove it.
absolutely.
Stand your ground, right? Do not let any of them come at you and gaslight the shit at you. The whole bullshit they pull, like, oh, you just hate women. That's just a shield. All that is a shield. They are getting bombarded right now, and they are trying to use it as a shield to make you go, no, I don't hate women. It's like, no, that's a load of shit. You know that's bullshit. If you hated women, you wouldn't have accepted the fucking Sisters of Battle, or the fucking female guard, or the fucking.
They're trying to weaponize your values against you, and in Western society, we do value women. We do value though we don't think of it in those manners. We do value including people in things and not like racism or things like that. Like in Western society, they're trying to use your Western sensibilities and values against you.
Yeah.
And trying to make you feel guilty about stuff. Don't let them. Like
I mean, if you want an example, I'll send you this one because man, you're going to have a headache looking at this. Right? You might want to pull this one up for the chat, but this is the idea of what these people that are gaslighting you want. Right? I'll let Asmo take the floor on this one as he reads it.
On me. Come on, stop fighting me. There we go. Shared by Thor Odinson. # Warhammer fans be like, can we take the war out of Warhammer? Wait, what? Lord of Change. Oh, look at all those fucking flags. Romance should be the center of every 40k novel. They're so boring.
And then look what Cerberus says.
Cerberus, this cunt. Human relations overall, honesty, the uncaring killing machines get boring real fast. This motherfucker pretends to be a fan. Could you admit more outwardly you're not a fan of 40k?
Well, here's his thing, cringe point 2. 2.0. I've just sent to your DMs, and this is my response to it because this is another thing he's doing recently, and even his own side is starting to call him out on it.
Cerberus says, I would be so mad if that happened, mightily triggered, seething even. A mister of battle.
It's a femboy.
Yeah,
it's a femboy twink.
I'm unfortunately familiar with internet trends, okay?
Yeah, and if you know the artist, yeah, it says a lot about him.
I don't know the artist. I'm not going to ask. The way you said that now worries me.
Archon of Flesh. Don't look him up.
I'm not going to. Christ, can we at least try and not directly feed the Coomer allegations from the Chuds? It's not allegations. You guys prove it on a goddamn daily basis.
Look at fucking Seb's response.
Don't give a single fuck what Chuds say. They spend their time spouting nonsense anyway. This really, you hypocritical cunt. What a shit show.
This is the kind of people you're dealing with, guys. This is the kind of people you're dealing with.
Oh,
they're all fucking fakes and frauds who are trying to hold you to a standard that they will never hold. And I mean, just the amount of them that have been attacking us. So, for these idiots, don't take any shit. Make sure you get the truth. That's what me and Asmo have been doing there by finding out the ESG bollocks and finding out the BlackRock shit. When you see these dickheads, just fucking, underneath it all, they are a liar. They are wearing a skin suit. and are trying to appear better than you. Even that guy, what was his name? Did you see the other day the guy from White Dwarf?
The former writer of White Dwarf. Yeah,
Nick Davis or something his name was.
Something like that.
Right?
Nick something.
Yeah. Now, he put out a comment the other day. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday it was. Where he ended up putting down another one. And essentially he just did the whole, the laws always changing because things from Rogue Trader, blah, 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 second edition, all the things you've heard before. Right? And also to address that, guys, for the, not the previous caller, but the caller before, who was having a big, long conversation with you, his point on the Necrons. Now, my understanding with the Necrons is, right, the reason their lore changed is because they actually got a book that was from their perspective.
Well, yes, but the motivation behind adding or revamping their lore is because they didn't have any. To be honest.
Yeah, basically.
What they were, and that's why it's also with like the example, the guy previous to the previous guy used with like the Leagues of Votann being like brought up is like a example. It's a non-equivalent because in the case of the Necrons and the Votann, it was a case of something being added where there was an absence. In the case of Leagues of Votann, squats got erased, and they brought back squats. In the case of Necrons, what was there was it was just a generic tagline of, okay, they're basically Terminators. They wanted to give them something more than that, so they revamped the lore.
They fleshed them out.
Yeah. It wasn't like they erased something. They didn't really erase anything. They just took the bare bones and added to it. They gave it meat.
Whereas with the squats just kind of got sidelined for a long time. There was no...
Oh, no, they got erased.
Answer. Did they actually get wiped out? Was that actually confirmed?
Yeah. In the lore,
it might have been a thing.
Yeah, in the lore, they said that in like I think it was one of the novels. They referenced that the squats, like their homeworld, got attacked by Tyranids, and they all got eaten.
Yeah,
like that was the lore there for a long time until they brought Votann back.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to that Nick Davis guy. Yeah, he was making a point and all that sort of thing.
Oh,
and
then I got a super chat. Ball, you sexy old man, you. I want to dance with GW is nothing but a thing of the past. Yeah, Ball's been Ball's an old guard, by the way, for everyone watching, and a member of my community. I love him to death. And he's been around since second edition, I believe. Or was it Rogue Trader? No, it was Rogue Trader, wasn't it, Ball? You've been around since like the beginning. But
he's an old boy.
Yeah, he's been around a while, and he's been enjoying the shit show.
It has been a fun shit show, I will say that. Right, so I've sent you another DM there. It's two screens. It is the top screen being the first one. Now that's Nick Davis's tweet, and then essentially in it, he's just doubling down from his previous point from the other day. If you know the tweet, you already know what he's saying. And he's like, let me elaborate what I actually meant. I didn't actually mean that the lore doesn't mean anything. I mean the lore doesn't mean anything, and it's always changing.
Oh, okay.
That's essentially all his point change was. And then this guy here, Marius, I believe it is.
Marius Calgar?
Yeah, Marius. He's responded to him and all that, and he's basically talking about lore consistency by using a Tolkien quote there. The Tolkien quote he uses in the essay is brilliant, right? But essentially it's about just believability in the world. And how does Nick Davis respond to that? Well, you can see in the second tweet how he responds to that.
I gotta pull this up.
I'll let you read it.
Well, let me read them in order. First one, Nick Davis. Okay, let's try this one more time. I'm not devaluing anyone's experience of the gaming hobby, and I cannot talk to whatever Games Workshop does with their social media or any other decisions.
That's the first tweet.
Yeah,
that's the first tweet. It's the response tweet you want.
Okay. Davis, I am sorry you feel that way. It is ironic that you asked me to read half an essay when you didn't even read my much shorter post. If your world is broken because there might be a couple of girls, this same old deridement, it's not about women, underneath a layer of golden armor, that, my friend, is on you and you alone. Not him alone, quite a few of us. And again, it's not because of the women part. It's because of the lore molestation. Like you're changing something for a political ideology, not due to any tangible benefit to the hobby. It sounds like you are in crisis. May I suggest, and this is a serious suggestion, call one of the relevant numbers below. Wow. Did he really try and link him to suicide hotline?
He did it to quite a lot of people, but yeah, this was one of the first ones he did it to.
What a
He deleted this tweet recently. But
Rightfully so.
this is a guy who's coming at it like, hey, by the way, I used to work at Games Workshop, and yeah, I think it's all invalid what you think, so therefore I'm going to try and grift on the woke politics. That's essentially what this guy tried, and then when he got shit, and not even shit, right? Marnius wasn't even being nasty with him. He was actually being very, very nice with him. And then the guy just responds to him like, hey, it sounds like you want to kill yourself.
It's
like,
disingenuous tactics. Like he's being disingenuous. He's not actually responding to people fairly.
That actually got my blood boiling yesterday. It did. It was so fucking angry, and it's like, are you serious, mate? You've come at this like acting like, oh, I'm actually an authority figure on this because I worked at White Dwarf and all that. And it's like, oh, shut the fuck up, mate. Shut up. He knows for a fact that back then he was not like this now. He wouldn't have gave a shit back then. But no, now it's good to sell your politics. Fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, I was getting a bit heated there, but this
fine.
guy really did anger me. It did. It's just, oh, fuck off. You know it was not like that. And he knows that he's bullshitting when he says that shit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's disingenuous as shit. Like,
No.
people like this, he's looking for brownie points. He wants head pats from really shitty people. That's another thing I'll never understand is the desire. Oh, still.
Yeah, you've already seen
Yes.
Cerberus's tweets.
Yeah.
You know what he's like.
They're all a bunch of egotistical narcissists. They just want head pats, and I guess the easiest way they see to do it is pandering to a bunch of these people. Also, they've convinced themselves that if they side with, the woke, that they're somehow on a moral good side when they're not. The woke haven't been morally good since the fucking early 90s, if that.
Mm-hmm,
And that's because back then, progressivism, like in the 90s and stuff, was like pushing back against like the ultra conservatives, like the ones that wanted to, like Jack Thompson and stuff, right? That were like, hey, your video games are full of sin and stuff. And, back then, like, woke would have been how we are now, like pushing back against assholes that were telling you how to live your life. Now they are the assholes telling you how to live your life.
Well, the thing is, I'm not even going to say it was woke. I would say it was actually more libertarian because you were more about freedom than anything.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, the sensibilities were different at the time. Like, now, like, today's woke was yesteryear's conservative Christian.
Well, woke is essentially looking at everything through an identitarian lens.
Yeah. And the way it shifted is so bad.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. Okay, I'll finish up with one or two more things. Just a quick one there in your DMs. The latest meme that everybody is pushing right now, because apparently this is what they've said to sort of cover themselves up.
Everything is canon. I gotta share that with the chat or they'll be mad at me. Let me pull it up here. Damn, why does it zoom in so much?
It's just the way it is. And the next DM I've sent you is the writer of the Custodes book, apparently.
The short story or the codex?
The actual codex itself, apparently.
Fuck off. That fits. Don't get me wrong. That fits. Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on, Metal Man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Right, you have a good night, mate, and have a good shift.
I'll try my best.
See you soon, man. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Alrighty. That was Lord Metal Man, awesome guy. If you do go on Twitter, first of all, Lord have mercy on your soul. But you can find him over there. He's the one of the key leaders over there of like the actual 40K community over there, not the woke crap he pushes back against all the time, which is really good. All right, so I'm running out of time. I'm gonna take. Yeah, I'm really kind of toting the line here before work. I'll take one more call. I wish I could take 2 more or 3 more. I'm sorry to everybody who's in the waiting. I wish I could take more, but I am almost out of time. Damn it. We'll definitely do another one though. We'll definitely do another one. Maybe not about the. Well, we'll definitely do another one about this topic, but probably not like immediately after. I won't give a time frame because I'm not sure. But I will pull in one more person, and then we'll wrap up for today. Sorry guys, I wish I could go longer, but duty calls. Alrighty, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, hello? You're still muted in Discord. If you can hear me, you need to unmute yourself.
Oh, son of a gun.
There you go.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm multitasking, doing some chores today at the same time.
That's
Let
fine.
me know if I'm breaking up at all. But how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. How you been?
Doing pretty good. Well, I'm doing okay. Just because I'm watching this stuff as somebody who got into Warhammer in the 7th edition and then stopped before 8th edition happened because I couldn't use 2 plasma pistols with a captain. And I'm thank Christ that I did, because as much as I love the lore pre-8th edition, just seeing this crap keep going on, I'm glad I stopped investing so much. It's kind of sad. And as somebody who's in BattleTech as well, I don't know if you've heard, but we're having our own kerfuffle over in that, section of the fandom as well.
I have heard about the BattleTech stuff. Yeah, you guys are dealing with an invasion. You guys are dealing with a more creepy one because didn't they take over several fan-run Discords?
Oh God, the story behind that shit.
We don't got time for it, but
we don't have time for it. We're gonna stick to Warhammer, but yeah, just for everyone else, if you're interested in getting into BattleTech, we welcome you, but be forewarned. We're dealing with a similar kerfluffle shit over there. It's not so much with the lore, but with people coming in and just basically trying to push political crap on everything, and it's messed up. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there's something I wanted to actually say in terms of anyone who says, "Oh, the lore is always changing in 40K." They're disingenuous assholes. They are completely fucking disingenuous, because that's complete bullshit. If you start from the very beginning, from like Rogue Trader, how it started off, when something starts off, anything starts off, and they're getting their footing, yeah, some things in terms of the lore or how things are shown are going to change. Like, Rogue Trader was a little more goofy, in over the top.
It was second edition. Rogue Trader was, and I need to stress this because the woke constantly will try and use it to cite stuff. It was a prototype. Like citing Rogue Trader for examples of like, oh well, we did have female Space Marines, see, and we did just know that the equivalent of that is like someone taking a storyboard for a movie or the rough draft of a script and saying, hey, this was actually there, didn't you know? So no, it wasn't. That was a rough draft. That was before it was. The final product is actually after it. That is just them shooting the shit and trying some things.
Exactly. And for the record, there were no female Space Marines in Rogue Trader either. In the lore in Rogue Trader, it specifically says it's only male too. And anyone who tries to cite those models, those were female warriors. It never said female space marines. They weren't supposed to be space marines. They're complete. When you really dig deep into it, it's like, yeah, no, this doesn't support your claims at all, people. You're full of shit. And then, okay, so starts with Rogue Trader, moves into second edition, starts to get a little more of what current 40K is looking like. Then third edition really kind of sets the tone of the universe and all that. And when people are talking about lore changing, listen, when you have something that you just introduce, but then soon after it's introduced, you add more lore to it or change some stuff up with it, all right, you get leeway for that because it's just introduced. But when something has been set from the very beginning and has been repeated beforehand throughout time, such as Space Marines can only be male, or the whole brotherhood of the Custodes, you better have a damn fucking good reason for changing that shit. And
build up. Like, that's the thing. You need build up to a change this big.
Oh, exactly. The whole thing with the Necrons, like you were saying before, it's not, from what I understand from talking with different people, it wasn't so much that it changed, it was just fleshing out the lore.
Yeah,
which is different.
If you pardon a turn of phrase, it was bare bones. It was bare bones as it was before. They added to it. All that was really about the Necrons before in 5th edition, or prior to 5th edition, was basically just an underlying score of, oh, they're Terminators. Was pretty much all we had. We didn't have any kind of like extensive lore or anything about them. They were just kind of filling a niche. What actually fleshed them out and gave them an identity was what came after 5th edition. So for people to use that as an example of a retcon and compare it to this is completely comical.
It is. It's insane. So anytime somebody mentions that, like the lore is always changing, they're being disingenuous or they're being ignorant. If they're being ignorant, just let them know. And then if they're shown that and they still spout it, they're being retarded. And that's it.
Disingenuous, for sure.
Oh my God. And here's the thing with the whole Custodes thing, looking at it and looking at how it's, how they're presented in terms of the fact that how they're made versus Space Marines. I do see, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I hate doing this, but it's just an example of how you can pull this shit off, but also make it work, is if you had this shit happen post-Gulliman. And because they don't operate on the gene seed, they operate on like bioalchemists and shit like that, which is a different process than the gene seed. And if they wanted to add female Dami-Mami Custodes, because we know this is Coomer shit going on here.
Oh, absolutely.
If they wanted to add that, then what they should have done was gone, okay, so the whole rip in the galaxy happened after Cadia fell. Gulliman came back. Some changes happened in the Imperium because of the dire straits of things. Gulliman basically went to the Gene Smiths or something like that, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. They came up with actually a compelling reason to go, okay, all the nobles of Terra, we also need your daughters as well because we need more of the Custodes. And right now, we're kind of desperate for anyone just because of that. And that would be somewhat of a more understandable change where it's like, okay, now at this point in the lore, you do have female Custodes.
Even with that, though, there's two other loophole. Like, there's still other two huge holes with that they would need to fill to explain it. Because outside of like a need of desperation, there's also the fact of, okay, how is it the process which never before did it establish that women could survive it? This process makes a genetic being so not infinite, but even more powerful and potent than a space marine. If the gene seeds and the process of making a space marine can't cater to women, why is it a more complicated process and an even more taxing process of genetic refinement like the Custodes can now work on women, where it still doesn't work on the less refined version of Space Marines?
Fuck, that's a good point. Yeah.
So
Now that you mention it,
yeah, that would need to be explained. And if they, I swear to God, if they did it the way they explained Primaris, which is, oh, this guy named Call did it, I'd be just as infuriated as I am now. It's just as stupid.
Fair. It's just as dumb.
Like, it's bad enough that Call improved upon the Emperor's designs with the Space Marines. If he did it with the Custodes too, it's like, why the fuck is did the Emperor even exist? This guy named Call just did it better than the Emperor did with his own shit. Yeah, it would be absolute fucking horseshit.
Yeah, Primaris is definitely the second half of the reason why I decided not to get into 8th edition or anything past that. And it's sad because at this point, some friends of mine who don't play Warhammer but they love the lore have just kind of stopped paying attention to it because he's just you know what, I'm just depressed about this stuff. I don't even care to pay attention to it anymore. I'm done. I'm doing my own other thing, and I'm like, that makes me sad, but I understand.
Yeah,
it sucks. Anyway, that's one of the biggest things I wanted to just say about that. I won't take up too much of your time. Just wanted to mention that whole thing about lore always changing. Yeah, no, suck it. You're lying out your ass, people. Shut up. Anyway, I'm gonna split and I'm gonna let you get to work. And thanks for having us all on and talking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate everybody's come on. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your thoughts. Like, the open mics are a lot of fun to do because it is a good place for us all to have a discussion about this. And it's a place for everyone that they can voice their thoughts, obviously to me, and I will confront them if I don't agree. I will, argue my points for sure. But at the end of the day, I like to have everybody able to voice their thoughts here and discuss them. I think it's a good vent for people in the community where we all are constantly feeling, especially right now, this level of divisiveness, and we can't really talk to each other as much. So I feel like this is a good place for people to voice their stuff. So, but thank you.
It really is. No, thank you, sir.
No problem. All right. I'm gonna end this stream, guys. We'll definitely do another open mic probably next week. I'm not gonna give a specific day because my next week is weird for me. It's a very awkward week. I got some stuff I gotta do, so it may have to be next weekend. But sometime next week, hopefully, I'll be able to fit in an open mic, and hopefully on a day I'll actually have more time because I do like giving you guys as much time as you need to break down your thoughts, ask me questions, allow me to ask you questions, and elaborate on them. But anyway, we're gonna call it there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Make sure to leave a like before you guys go. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hobby on, but hobby on without supporting GW preferably. Bye bye.
Peace out.